Part 4 of the synchronization device. The original title is The Global South Illusion Loop, when synchronization becomes a survival strategy instead of cognitive system. When synchronization becomes survival. Parts 1 to 3 establishes that all societies synchronize. The only question is how. Part 4 examine what happens when synchronization develops under chronic instability, institutional discontinuity, and total scarcity. Not moral failure, not cultural inferiority, but environmental constraints. In such an ecosystem, the synchronization device shifts from coherence to survival, predictability to adaptation, to trust to precaution, logic to mythic compensation. This creates what we call the Global South Illusion Loop, a social operating system built to prevent collapse rather than produce progress, a system optimized to mask instability, absorb shock, and maintain face even when the underlying structure is disintegrating. The core logic, illusion as a stabilizer. In fragile context, reality is metabolically expensive, so fear is ever present and institutions cannot guarantee continuity. So societies built a parallel operating system, illusion as emotional regulation, ritualized optimism, public displays of unity, exaggerated certainty in speech, overstated success, understated conflict. This is not deceit, it is collective shock absorption of psychological infrastructure that prevent the social body from fracturing. In its logic, appearances do not hide reality, they hold it together. Performative modernity, looking modern instead of being modern. Under chronic precarity, societies often develop performative modernity. This is the external mimicry of modern institutions without their internal functions. Examples: bureaucratic offices that operate through ritual, not procedure, laws that exist but are unenforceable, technology adopted without structure integration, formal politeness masking aggressive extraction, endless meeting replacing decision. Performative modernity is not hypocrisy. Actually, it is metabolic necessity in a system where rule cannot be trusted, the decisions cannot be stabilized, truth cannot be synchronized. So appearance becomes the real currency, the illusion loops, keeps the system from detonating. Ritualized bureaucracy, the mask of stability. In Europe, bureaucracy was built to codify trust. In the global south, bureaucracy often becomes a ritual of stability. Forms that signal order, titles that signal hierarchy, meetings that signal coordination, ceremonies that signal continuity. These rituals produce emotional synchrony even when structure capacity is low. The goal is not efficiency. The goal is preventing collapse through the performance of stability. This is why bureaucratic interaction often slower, more theatrical, more ceremonial, more symbolic. The bureaucracy is not a tool, it is a stage on which the society rehearses its own survival. Emotional synchrony as authority control. In conditions where institutions are weak, contracts are fragile, enforcement is unpredictable, authority shifts from a procedure to emotion. Tone becomes law, charm becomes currency, fear becomes compliance. The emotional environment becomes the true regulating mechanism. This is why the average person in fragile system must constantly read microsignals, manage tone carefully, overexpress loyalty, underexpress dissent, perform deference. Emotion become a survival literacy. People synchronize to power through feeling, not through rules. Why illusion is not failure? It is a metabolic adaptation. The global south illusion loop is not a pathology. It is a stabilization algorithm developed under chronic unpredictability. It keeps societies functioning when truth is dangerous, transparency destabilizes, directness threatens, status hierarchies, institutions cannot carry the cognitive load. Illusion maintain neurobiological coherence in an incoherent environment. This is why warm insanity, ritualized optimism, face-saving, hyper-politeness often exists. Not to deceive, not to hide the failure, but to prevent fear spirals that could tear the society apart. Is a social anesthetic, not a lie. The loop, why it persists across generations. Once illusions becomes the regulatory device, a feedback loop merge. Institutions remain weak because emotions regulate behavior. Emotions regulate behavior because institutions remain weak. Appearance stabilize society more reliably than procedures. Procedures remain performative because appearances do the real work. This loop is self-enforcing. It maintains continuity without coherence, movement without progress, and harmony without trust. It is the metabolic designed to prevent collapse, but not to generate cognitive synchrony. The bridge to part 5. Part 4 sets up the transition to the heart of the series, the neurobiology of coherence, where we dissect trust mode versus threats brain mode, oxytocin versus cortisol societies, Why fear-based synchrony consumes more metabolic energy, why illusion loop are stabilizing but cognitively expensive, and why stable society feel sane. Part 5 will show what will show that the global south illusion loop is not cultural, it is neurobiological. A society cannot synchronize to coherence until it neurobiologically exists. Until it neurobiologically exit threat mode.